Have you ever had one of those realizations that kind of pisses you off? Not because it's wrong, because you know it's completely true. I recently had one of those moments. I have spent years healing. I have survived abuse, betrayal, trauma, divorce, motherhood, health problems, loss, and more moments than I can count where I had to figure out how to keep going even when I didn't feel like I had anything left. I became a coach. I went back to school. I became a social worker and a therapist. I have built businesses. I have helped other women. I have done so much work on myself. And yet, I recently realized that I was still building my life around everyone else. I was still giving everyone else the best parts of me and giving myself whatever scraps were left. My family got my time, my clients got my energy, my responsibilities got my attention, my goals were squeezed into whatever tiny little space remained after everyone and everything else had been handled. And I thought, abso-fucking-lutely not. I did not fight this hard to survive just to create a more functional version of settling. I did not heal so I could become more efficient at abandoning myself. And I do not want to spend the next 10, 20, 30, or even 40 years repeating the same responsibilities while quietly telling myself that maybe one day there will finally be time for me. That realization is what has been changing the direction of my work. For a long time, so much of what I talked about was healing, breaking trauma cycles, leaving unhealthy patterns, learning boundaries, rebuilding after abuse, and that work matters so deeply to me and always will. But healing cannot be the final destination because surviving the past is not the same thing as creating a future you are excited to live. At some point, the question has to change. It cannot only be, how do I stop hurting? Eventually, it also needs to become, what do I want? What makes me feel alive? What kind of woman do I want to be? What would I create if I stopped treating everyone else's comfort as more important than my calling? What would my life look like if it finally included me? That is what the power era means to me. It is the season when a woman stops acting like her life is already decided. It is the moment she stops accepting that adulthood is supposed to feel like one long list of responsibilities. It's when she stops believing that her best years are behind her simply because she's approaching 40, has children, or maybe has made mistakes, or has spent years building a life that she's no longer sure she wants. The power era is not about blowing up your entire life. It's not about becoming selfish. It's not about abandoning your family or quitting your job tomorrow or pretending that responsibilities don't exist. It is about refusing to disappear inside of those responsibilities. It is about creating a life that includes your joy, your health, your dreams, your purpose, your peace, and your desires too. And I think there are so many women who feel this. They may not say, I've lost myself. They may not even know that's what has happened. They just know there has to be more than this. They love their families. They may appreciate their homes. They may have careers they worked hard to build. They may look successful and capable from the outside. But somewhere underneath all of that, there's a quiet voice whispering, is this really all I'm going to do with my life? And then guilt immediately follows because women have been taught that wanting more means that we're ungrateful, that wanting time for ourselves means that we're selfish, that changing our minds means we're unstable, that dreaming at 40 is somehow more ridiculous than dreaming at 20. And I don't believe any of that shit. I believe you can be grateful for what you have and still acknowledge that something is missing. I believe that you can love your family and still want a life that contains more than serving everyone in it. I believe that you can appreciate how far you have come and still feel called towards something bigger. And I believe that if you have a pulse, that it's not too late. I'm not coming at you as a woman who has every answer or has completed the journey. I'm building my own power era in real time. I'm still catching myself in old patterns. I'm still learning where I've been settling. I'm still uncovering dreams I buried because they seemed too impractical, inconvenient, or too big. But I'm done waiting until I'm perfectly healed, perfectly confident, perfectly organized, or perfectly ready before I can start creating the life I actually want. And that is what I want this next chapter of my work to be about. I want to explore why capable women lose trust in themselves, why we know we want more but still struggle to act, why change can feel dangerous even when staying the same is slowly killing our spirit, why we keep giving ourselves the scraps, and what actually helps a woman stop settling, trust herself, and create an extraordinary next chapter. I'm going to study it, live it, test it, talk about it, interview women about it. I'm going to share the ugly parts, the breakthroughs, and I'm going to bring you every lesson I can find, because I do not believe our lives are half over. I believe we may finally be getting to the part where we know enough, have survived enough, and are brave enough to stop living according to who everyone else told us to be. So this is me officially saying it. I'm done settling. And if there is a part of you that has been whispering, there has to be more than this, I hope that you'll come with me, because maybe you do not need to become a new woman. Maybe you need to uncover the woman who's been buried underneath everyone else's expectations. Maybe your best years are not behind you. Maybe they're waiting for you to stop postponing them. Subscribe and tell me in the comments, what is one area of your life where you know that you've been settling? You don't have to know what the solution is yet. Just tell me the truth about where you are. That is where every power era begins.